you a bunch this year about your young guys.
Yep.
From the very beginning of the camp all the way through. They're through their regular season now. We all talk about how the game gets faster in the postseason.
Right.
Can you really explain it to them, or they just got to go out there and play in one of these games to understand how different it is?
Yeah, they just have to experience it. As we all know in here, you have a preseason mode, a regular season at the beginning mode, and then, of course, as the season grows long, then there's another mode that we kick into. But once the playoffs hit, it's something that they have to experience, because trying to explain to someone how something tastes versus tasting it themselves, I mean, it's hard to do, and that's what you're trying to do with the playoffs. And so it's hard for me to explain to you what strawberries taste like if you've never tasted strawberries. And so you just have to taste it. And they have to taste it. And right now, the one thing that you try to do is you try to help these young guys understand that it's all about making sure that you get your rest and making sure that you study yourself first before you study the opponent. If you can study yourself and you know how you've played on film throughout the entire year, then you can actually hopefully fix some things that you may have seen on tape. So they have to experience it, though.
The matchup with Jacksonville's receivers, a little bit of a success besides maybe toward the end in that first game. What do you see out of Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and that crew that you guys feel you match up against?
I tell you, when I was in Arizona, we drafted Christian Kirk. I was in New York, we drafted Evan Ingram. And so you talking all these guys, Zay Jones was at the Raiders for a while. So our guys, going against this crew for the second time, I let these guys know that, hey, these guys are as good as any receiving crew that we've had come in here to KC this year. So size-wise, you're talking Zay Jones at 6'0", 2'1". His size, we match up with him very well as far as height with our big corners outside. And, of course, Kurt has so many moves inside. I mean, he does a fantastic job of running routes. And so having whoever is going to play inside on him, be it LJ or be it Trent, is going to be a great test. It was a great test the first time. I think Christian had 2 touchdowns maybe the first game. And so, he is a different type player as far as when you put your hands on him versus when you don't. And so, but regardless of whether you can get your hands on a guy like a Christian Kirk or Zay Jones, you still have to win once you get in phase. And that's one of the things that we've been working on all week, is trying to, once you get in phase, what are you doing now? So it's going to be a great matchup.
What do you think has propelled LJ to seemingly at the end of the year here and entering the playoffs become this lockdown type of corner where he can really curb the other team's top guy?
I think LJ's ability to go in and to lock in and focus again on one particular receiver, which a lot of guys, you can tell them to go and study a guy and they may come back with multiple questions and may struggle still on the field with some of the things that they do. But every time I speak with LJ and some of the film study that he's had, it matches up with what I've seen as well. So he's able to go in and study a particular guy, which frees him up from trying to study everyone. And so, but he's done a great job with that. And so the more he can improve on, being able to go and match up on a number 1 receiver for us is going to help us out.
It seems obvious, but presumably that takes a couple of years.
It does, and this is year 3 for him. And so this is something I would not have done with LJ his first year. It's just like Trent, trying to have Trent go and follow the number 1 guy. So they have to mature and grow into that role, I believe, and LJ is at that point.
One of the things that they talked about ATN is he's got some long runs, like 10-plus yard runs. That means your guys have to be involved in the run game.
That's right.
They all look very willing to do that.
That's right. That's right.
How important will that be on Saturday?
Very important. You're talking Juan and Justin Reed has done a fantastic job for us as far as coming down and making tackles. ETN brings another element. He brings the home run element because he's a 4-3 kid. So if he gets out in space, he has a chance to take it to the house. And so our guys, just like every week, we try to look at it as a faceless opponent. But, when it comes to tackling, it goes back to your fundamentals. Same foot, same shoulder. Eyes, see what you hit, making sure that your shoulder pads are connecting, keeping your head out. So all those fundamentals will have to come into play when it comes to tackling all of these guys, because not only ETN, but even their receivers that run out the catch, they do a great job. And they're probably one of the tops in the league at doing that. And so, but being able to tackle these guys with solid fundamentals and knee bend, knee flex, ETN would be a challenge for us, for sure.
Coach, I know Cisco had a couple of hits on your receivers that, got a flag, got picked up, other people wanted a flag. How hard is the job now for your guys with the speed, and guys running in space, not coming out of the stands, but running in space to hit the quote-unquote strike zone?
Yeah, it's you just said it. I mean, it's the strike zone. It's no more than if a novice is out there listening to what we're talking about, the strike zone. We try to tell our guys to make sure that they're hitting from the chest plate down to the top above the kneecaps. And so the strike zone is very important to be able to focus on the hips of where the receiver or where the running back is going to make sure you're leveraging it to your next defender. So it's very important for those guys to be able to have knee flex when they're going in space to be ready to go and make a move just in case they start to put their foot in the ground and change direction. Guys that are standing up high strike zone, you're hitting, tackling up near the shoulder pads by the head, that's no good. You're going to miss a lot of tackles.
And just as a follow-up, do you get frustrated watching the receivers and runners duck their head? And they're supposed to call that?
No, you know what? I mean, I don't. I played for some guys that 20, 30 years ago, that was the way the game was. And so the Don Shulers, the Buddy Ryans, those guys, that's the way it was played then. And so you're trying to teach these guys to make sure that they keep their head out of contact. But when a runner or receiver, just as I played running back in high school, if I'm catching the ball and I'm running, there was a gauntlet machine that you ran through and you lowered your shoulders. So they're doing what they're taught to do. We just have to make sure that we get maybe a little lower so we can have our contact a little bit under their pads, So other than that, thank you guys. All right, thank you.